So before I begin this episode, I just want to let you guys know that I'm a little bit under the weather right now. My voice isn't the best right now, but I'm getting better. I'm making sure I recover as fast as I can so I can actually sound better next episode. So with that out of the way, I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello everyone, my name is The Ultimate Spy, and welcome to another episode of Reviewed. Reviewed number 181. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the movie Race to Witch Mountain. So, what did I think of Race to Witch Mountain? Yeah, it was fun with Dwayne Johnson. It's obviously a great movie, but the intro was different. Like I said in last week's episode, how the Disney intro was, unique. It had like different music in the background and everything like that. Same thing with this one. Actually, interestingly and funny enough, this is actually the third Disney-made live-action film, because the last couple of episodes that I've actually done have all been Disney-made. Sorcerer's Apprentice and G-Force were both Disney films. They were all like live-action, but they were still like, under Disney. Disney made it. So it's kind of crazy how this is actually the third one I've reviewed in a row that's all Disney. It's crazy. Disney's amazing anyway. So, yeah, the intro was really unique and very cool because not only was the music different, but also the castle kind of like morphed or transformed into the actual Witch Mountain, which is actually really cool. But basically, the idea of this film, it kind of sort of takes inspiration from E.T. a little bit, but not too much, just kind of a little bit. But basically, Jack Bruno is this ex-con who basically he works as a taxi driver, and he sort of accidentally picks up two teenagers who are actually aliens, Sara and Seth, who also possess special powers. I'll get to that later. But basically, they have come to Earth, I guess, to escape or something, and they want Jack's help to get back to their ship. It's been like stolen or whatever like that. That's basically the idea of the film. It's honestly really cool. Just everything that's involved in the film, in terms of the actors, in terms of the locations. It's pretty cool, to be honest. But one thing that I was really confused about in like the beginning of this film, when Jack, who's played by Dwayne Johnson, is watching TV, he's watching the news, and his TV is old. It's like from the 80s or 90s. Actually, I had to look up what TV that looks like it's from. It looks like it's from either the 80s or the 90s. Like it's like a mix of the two. I don't know which decade it was from, but like one of those two decades. It's like, why does he have a TV that old? Especially if the film is supposed to take place in 2009, because a lot of films nowadays are set in the same year they come out. Not every film, but most films in the world are like that. It really depends on the film. But this film, there's not really a given date about when it's set, but we assume that it's the same year it came out, which was 2009. So, wouldn't Jack have a flat screen TV? Not like a, old school classic TV? I don't know what that's about. Why did he have that? I mean, I don't know, but still, it's very interesting and very weird, but also, like, I guess cool if you like old vintage TVs. It's weird. But speaking of the TV, actually, I really like the fact that there's a transition effect where the camera zooms into the news, and when it gets close to the TV, it transitions to the actual film location of the news, which is really cool. So I liked it a lot. There's a really cool effect about transitioning, and it was a surprisingly cool effect. And now with the abilities, I mentioned I was going to get to that. So basically with the abilities, Seth and Sara, both are siblings, Seth and Sara, and while Seth can basically phase through objects, basically phase through anything, he's also invulnerable, basically. Like, he can deflect bullets, he can obviously phase through things. He has a really cool power, but he's like, I don't know, he's more abrupt with Jack. Like, it's almost like he doesn't trust Jack. But I guess that's his personality. And then Sara, she is the girl who can basically control things with her mind. But also she can, like, read people's mind, which is really cool. So I like the powers they have. They really come in handy, especially when, she's trying to get the taxi to move. She basically goes, move, kind of thing like that. It's a really cool set of powers, and I like that's why I like that. I like those characters a lot, especially since they're aliens. And speaking of aliens, this is definitely a very alien-centric movie. There's a scene where Jack is, trying to figure out where they're from, and obviously they're aliens. He's like, you can't be alien. They look like humans, and it's like it's almost like I don't think it was a reference, but I think it if you think about it, it's a coincidence that maybe that might have been a joke or reference from Kryptonians or Time Lords. Probably not, but like maybe I don't know. I probably not. I think it was just a coincidence, but like it makes you wonder like that's supposed to be like referencing to those kind of aliens because those kind of aliens are aliens that look like humans, but they're not actually humans. They're aliens. But it's definitely interesting to think about, I guess, in that way. There are two actors that appear in this film, one more notably and one less notably, are Carla Gugino, or Gugino maybe? I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. And then Cheech Marin. And coincidentally, both of them also appeared in the Spy Kids trilogy, the original trilogy, not the fourth one, but the original trilogy that spanned 2001 to 2003, and obviously the third one wasn't very good. But basically, they were both in those films. It's a really cool coincidence that even though they weren't on screen together, they both were still a part of the Spy Kids trilogy. It's a really cool, fact that they were part of those films. It's just, because immediately I recognized Carla Gugino, or however you pronounce her name, from the Spy Kids trilogy. And then obviously, she's more like, oh, he looks familiar. And coincidentally, his last name is Cortez. It's really cool because, his name in the film is, he plays Eddie Cortez, the mechanic, and Cortez is actually the family name of Spy Kids. This is a cool kid inside. I like that. That's really cool. Now, there's a scene in the UFO convention where basically Sara and Seth, project this entire solar system of planets and stuff, and it's beautiful. I liked it a lot. It was a really cool thing. It's absolutely stunning to look at because in general the solar system, if you look at it from from here, it's beautiful. And I liked it a lot. Basically, with that scene, it kind of gave us the origins of Seth and Sara. They're from a different planet, obviously, and they came here because their planet was suffering or whatever like that. Their planet wasn't doing well, so they had to retreat to Earth, and I guess it wasn't livable or like that, so they had to get away, and then I guess that they're waiting until livable. I can't remember exactly if that's how it works, something like that. Or maybe they're just leaving. I don't know. They're just going somewhere else because they might not. I can't remember exactly how that works. Basically, it's kind of like that. But yeah, it's really cool. Explaining about how they're able to traverse to Earth and back for the planet. It's really cool. And also in general, just showing the entire solar system as a whole. It's really cool. So I liked it a lot. It was a really, really cool scene, and also it's just beautiful. And speaking of the UFO convention, because that's where the scene takes place, I thought it was cool. The UFO convention was really cool. It reminded me of I don't know, maybe San Diego Comic-Con. I have been there before, but I've seen the interior of that place, from videos and stuff, and it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. And it's cool because the idea of the convention is it's supposed to be celebrating all things that I guess extraterrestrial, and they even have cosplayers who were wearing costumes based off of popular science fiction culture from different films and TV shows that have science fiction in them. Like Star Wars, I think there was even Star Trek at one point, because I think I saw a Klingon at one point in the film, and then one of the scenes. And then also Tron, for who knows what reason. I think the Tron is just because it's classic, but it's still really cool to see that, everyone gathering to celebrate that, and yeah, it's cool, seeing everything come together, a lot of lightsabers, and just in general, I think the idea of just science fiction as a whole it's cool. So I liked it a lot. That was really cool. Now, one director that made an appearance in this film as well is Gary Marshall. Now, Gary Marshall, if you don't know him, he is the director of the Princess Diaries films. Princess Diaries and Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement, and he played this doctor who was he has knowledge about UFO stuff, and he also made an appearance in Hocus Pocus, the Halloween movie from the 90s, and he played this husband guy who knew the Sanders and sisters, and he was he was in costume as the devil. Basically, that's where he's from. That's where I've seen him from, and basically he has a very heavy New York accent, and he basically helps them get to Witch Mountain. Basically, he's an expert on where it is, where the spaceship is and everything like that. So basically, that's why he's in there. So it's really cool to see him, because I've only seen him in one other thing. So it was still cool to see him though. And I think I may have mentioned this to you earlier. I can't remember though. that this film, it's very similar to E.T. Not the same plot, but very similar because, you know, has to do with, you know, aliens, and then, you know, the government wanting to test on the aliens, and then the aliens wanting to get home. It's the same kind of idea with of a E.T. So, yeah, it's like not a direct, you know, copy of the plot, but similar elements are definitely used in terms of, like, you know, aliens being dissected and all that stuff, and the government being involved and all that stuff. Obviously, it's very different, but, like, you can tell it's similar in many ways. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And also, Sara and Seth's UFO is actually pretty cool too. You know, the interior of that, it's really cool. I liked it a lot. It was I don't know what it reminded me of. Just the UFO in general. The interior of that was actually just really cool. So I thought that was neat. And also the siphon that they encountered, basically the hunter, the hunter from their planet that is, you know, basically, you know, set to kill them. He is horrifying, by the way. He is, because when his mask is off, he is just horrifying. Because like his mask comes off, and then he's like this gooey texture stuff. Just like it's basically his face. It pops into view, then it turns around. It's like this horrifying face. It's not like nightmare fuel at all, but like, it's just like, it's unpleasant. Definitely, it's just like, oh, get away from me, kind of thing. But basically, that's all I can say about Race to Witch Mountain. It's actually a remake. Although the director of the film said it was meant to be, you know, like, not a remake, but like a new story set in the same world as the Witch Mountain movie, the original one. So it's like, it's a new version of the film. Basically a remake, though, right? Because it's basically you're doing the story again, but with, you know, different audience and better technology and all that stuff. Everything's better now. But also Dwayne Johnson. You gotta love Dwayne Johnson. Also, it's one of his earlier films where he actually has hair still. Yeah, it's pretty much all I can say about Race to Witch Mountain. I'm gonna give it a... I don't know. It wasn't perfect, so I'm probably gonna give it like a 9 out of 10, you know? Didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was fine, you know. It was okay, you know. Dwayne Johnson is always a win, so he makes up for it. So yeah, 9 out of 10. That's pretty much all I'm gonna say. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Reviewed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And if you are new to this channel, subscribe for more episodes of this series. Also, make sure to click that bell to enable alerts so you don't miss any of my uploads. And I'll be back next week with another episode. Alright? See ya.